Hey, it's RT. Welcome back to the Fast Foundations podcast. Today, we're going to give you a glimpse into what it's like to be in the room at a Fast Foundations event. At our last event in Scottsdale, we went deep on how to use AI to grow your brand, how to use ChatGPT to grow your personal brand specifically. If you want all the slides we go through in this next hour long of going deep into AI and all the ways to use it, then just look underneath me here on YouTube or go into the show notes and click that link. The first link is going to say slides or get the info. And you're not going to want to go through this without having these slides and these prompts so you can test it and try it live as you watch this or listen to this. So again, this is what it's like to be in the room at one of our Fast Foundations events. Head to fastfoundations.com to learn more. But here we go. Let's dive in how to use AI to grow your brand.
And I'm not going to get into the super technical side of it, but I am going to show you how to drive this damn thing. Because just like RT said, you all are sitting on an immense untapped amount of knowledge, opportunity, and the ability to create damn near as many revenue streams as you want. And that's the cool thing about this opportunity. You guys, we were just delivered the next gold rush for the digital era. Not just for SEO, not just for research, not just for finding quick answers that aren't inspired by Google ads. This is a powerhouse of information that if you know how to drive it, you can craft your business, your personal life, the way you show up as a leader, the way you show up as a human being. There's untold advantage that we are just right at the cusp of it. And this is why we just are so excited to have this session. Good, clicker works, thank you.
I fixed it, yep.
Thank you.
There's an on switch. On this side, I turned it on.
So I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of artificial intelligence, but I forgot the on switch on the damn clicker. This is where we're at today. So maybe I should have my coffee.
Yeah, let's switch sides. There you go. Get your coffee. So the thing we're asking it to do, and the point of this exercise, is a lot of what Jim and I are working on this year, and that's building our personal brands. So how many of you guys follow Lewis Howes or Alex Hormozi, Ryan Pineda? Call out another person that has a really big personal brand.
Just call them out.
Some people teach other people how to build personal. Right. You're gonna fucking love this.
You're gonna love this, yeah.
So Gary Vee, great example. So when you think about Gary Vee and Lewis Howes and Alex Hormozi, they all have, Alex Hormozi has a company, has probably lots of different companies, but he's not posting and talking about his company almost at all. Sometimes it's maybe right at the end, he throws a logo and he's like, P.S. this is what I do. Or, obviously he names, Jess was talking about, names the book, all his books tie back, and at the end he ties back in the book. Lewis is doing a lot of stuff like that now. But they're just growing their personal brands. They're not selling you anything. They're just sharing their knowledge, because people invest in and work with people, right? We want to build rapport. We want to build trust. We want people to like us. And then they find out, oh, we have a company. We do that thing. Oh, I should work with them instead of that other agency because I trust that human. That's what we're talking about today.
That's it. And we thought there's no better way to put our money where our mouth is when teaching this to you and show you exactly how to do that. So today, in this session, together, we are going to build an entire personal branding business, one prompt at a time. And I'm going to show you how you can learn how to drive AI by using this as if you wanted to adapt this both into your business life, or if you wanted to add an entire revenue stream. The whole point of this is we're going to use one very tactile example that applies to every single one of us in this room. But I want you to have the takeaways from this of saying, oh, well, I'm a creative and I'm a designer, so I don't need to do personal branding. I can do it like this, and I can talk to a different client a different way. Oh, I'm in real estate. Oh, I'm in health and fitness. Oh, I'm in podcast production. I want you guys to really think about how this can apply to what you're doing. But also not just that, let this open your mind to what else is possible. The whole point of the personal brand is so you can style flex, so you can think about getting into new avenues. There's so many ways that you all can make a ton of money this year, and you've just been given a driver's license to hit go. Ready for this? It's gonna be fun. Okay, so there's no better way to start a business than with understanding the story, right? I think it's fair to say, show of hands, everybody understands that without a good story, nobody pays attention, right? Somebody needs to understand, they need to be able to lock onto what you're doing. So again, for those of you that have tried ChatGPT, the way this presentation is gonna go is I got a little prompt in the corner, we're gonna talk about the prompt and we're gonna talk about the response. Then I'm gonna break everything down to show you how you can ask better questions. So for anybody who hasn't used ChatGPT, I think there was a couple, you log in, it's an interface, you type a query, it gives you an answer. It's basically Google without ads and no sponsorships. So let's just say you come in here and you say, give me 10 ideas for a personal branding business. Show of hands if this was like, this kind of thing was like your first thing that you typed in, like write me a blog post, write me a tweet about burritos, I don't know, whatever it is. You just start with something simple and you look for the answers. So the first thing you do is give me some ideas. How can I build a personal branding business? Social media management and strategy, cool. Resume, LinkedIn profile writing, all right. Brand photography, that sounds a little bit more complicated.
Public speaking and presentation coaching. Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, it all works out. So there's a bunch of ideas, For this one, we're actually just gonna pick number 5. Online personal branding webinars, courses, and resources. Something we can do totally digital, we can use this tool for, and we can really dive into. Some ideas here. These kind of check out, don't they? Right? Yeah. You're going to be my litmus test for the whole thing. It's going to be great.
And real quick, there's going to be a ton of slides, and we're going to share them all with you afterwards. So
yeah, you can take pictures, but you're going to get this entire presentation deck. You can copy and paste everything we have here to immediately implement it in your business. Okay? So that's great. Now we know the kind of business we want to build. So what do we do next? We think, okay, well, I need a website for it. I need to start putting this together. I need to be able to visualize what it's going to be. So, okay, write me some website copy for number 5. There's some cool things about this, right? The only question that you've asked it is, the only request you've asked is write copy. But you can see here how you can start to teach AI to pay attention to what it gave you, right? So you're not saying, you don't have to rewrite it and say, write me website copy for a personal brand coaching business. You just say, hey, you gave me number 5, give me copy for it. It says, great. Welcome to the personal branding webinars and online courses. Are you looking to stand out in today's competitive job market and evaluate? Okay, you see where this is going. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not really in my voice. If somebody reads that coming from my profile, they're gonna be like, no, this isn't gonna happen. The story isn't strong yet. Who has an idea of why the story isn't strong yet? Just call it out. It's not in my voice. There's no personal details. Nothing backs it up. There's no context. It doesn't have a dad joke yet.
Doesn't have any memes to base humor
No
on.
memes, no business. So the game here is learning the prompts. Anybody can get into RT's car, like RT, gun it, and they're gonna go forward. If they don't know how to take control of it, if they don't know when to let off the pedal and when to actually turn, if they don't understand the right way to drive a car that can go that fast, it's either not going to be as fun because they're gonna give up faster, or they're gonna get into trouble, or they're gonna start posting random stuff on their website like that and they're not gonna see sales, they're not gonna see conversions. It's just not going to be an enjoyable experience. So for those of you that started using it, how many of you were like, okay, this is cool, but like, I'll get back to this later? You just didn't know what else to do, right? And the reason is because we don't know the prompts yet. So the point of what we're gonna do today is we're gonna up your prompt game. And just like that whole thing, you ask better questions, you get better what? Answers. We're gonna build an entire business by really diving into these prompts. And I don't expect you all to master these. I haven't mastered them. This is all brand new, right? This just came out in November. We are just about in February. So together, we're gonna learn how this works. And as you start to adapt it in your business, you're gonna be able to get phenomenal data, incredible answers, and this ability to be able to grow your business.
And everyone has access to this, but most people ask ChatGPT 1, maybe 2 questions. I would say 90% of its user base, even though it's massive, They'll ask it 1 or 2 questions, and then like Jim said, they'll be like, this isn't really me. I don't know how I can use this, and then they'll stop. Today, we're gonna ask it like 50 questions, and you guys can do that too.
So for the majority of this, we're gonna run through this stuff. I'm not gonna read everything. I don't expect you guys to read it all, but I just want you to follow along. So when thinking about story, RT and I were recently in Vegas for another mastermind that we went into, and they did a similar presentation where they kind of opened us up and got us thinking about it too. Just a quick disclaimer, a lot of the prompts in here, some I created, some RT came up with, some we sourced, some I just see as I'm like watching other people like put stuff together, right? And that's the cool thing about this is untouched territory. You create it as you go. So an example that I saw, and this was phenomenal, and this is the reason for this, is to show you the power of when you train AI to act like you want it to act, you can get incredible results. Has anybody ever heard of this sales letter? The Tale of Two Young Men, written by Martin Conroy. This is considered one of the single best narrative story writing sales letters ever. And the reason why is because over almost a 30-year run, this one letter is said to have made the Wall Street Journal over $2 billion. Why? Well, it's because the power of a good story, right? A story can touch an emotion. It can tell you exactly how they want you to feel. And I'm not here to teach you how to be a story writer. I'm here to show you how we can train AI to do this for you. So the whole thing is here. Again, I know you can't read it, but I'm gonna break down the prompts. This simple layout of this story, the story starts optimistic, compares 2 men who appear to have identical lives that they're both happy with. It quickly brings the narrative down and brings curiosity and creating a new speculation. And then the one thing that's missing is presented. This changes everything, and the fix is vague. You can see how the story is starting to evolve. Then the easiest way to achieve the fix is presented confidently as definite, and that's what the people want to hear. From there, you just full on sell. You present it as a trial. It's no big deal. There's very low risk. And since they're already sold to, now this offer seems less than harsh, right? So savings feel good to the person who's reading it. And then at the end, you summarize it, and you tell them why it's in their best interest to buy. Very fair story, right? If you think about the last thing that maybe you were sold on, you're like, oh yeah, I could see that, you know. They presented one person that did well, they presented one person that didn't do well. They told me why it's missing in my life and why I need it. So let's use this as our template. Let's use this as a framework. If we go back to ChatGPT, I didn't now just say I want you to write a sales letter. I said I want you to act like a marketing copywriter. I want you to write a sales letter to sell a course on how to grow a personal brand where the sales letter you write is of equal value and based upon the following example of the Wall Street Journal's Tale of Two Young Men letter. Then take that content, paste it in here, and show me the answer. You see where we're going with this?
Because ChatGPT has read every single word on the internet, and it has read that sales letter. And the point of that sales letter, by the way, is to sell the Wall Street Journal. One of those 2 young men read the Wall Street Journal every day, and the other one didn't. And the one that read the Wall Street Journal every day got further ahead in his career and his life, et cetera, et cetera. So,
same exact ask, but under different contexts with the different prompts. Now AI has gone through and it understood that you've asked it to rephrase everything in a way that you want it to present it back to you. So now it says, hey, do you remember the story of the 2 young men that appeared? They were both starting their careers at the same qualifications, but one had something extra, a personal brand, right? You can see where this is going. The Wall Street Journal reported that the young man with the personal brand was quickly offered promotion. Now, you can see as you go through, if you start to skim it, it's starting to take these ideas that it gave you and turning it into a sales letter. It didn't rewrite the actual one. It didn't come up with something new for you. It combined them together because you just asked it a better question.
And at the end here, can you go back? Don't let missed opportunities hold you back any longer. Invest in yourself and your career by enrolling in the Personal Brand Mastery course today. It wrote that without us telling it anything besides that we're talking about personal brands.
So we're just getting started. And this is where it starts to get fun. You can say, okay, that's fantastic. That's a good start, but we're not done. I want you to go and I want you to add 7 bulleted items to the above letter, list the common reasons that personal brands fail and don't bring the results expected. Sure. Not having a clear defined message, not consistently maintaining and updating a personal brand, not effectively leveraging social media, so on and so forth. Okay, let's keep going. List 7 benefits of having a recognizable personal brand. Okay, increased career opportunities of advancement, greater credibility and trust, higher earning potential, more impactful networking. You guys, we're just asking it questions. But the stronger that we keep asking it, it keeps training the algorithm, it keeps getting better data, and it keeps presenting it in ways that you need it. Then I'd say, great, combine the last 3 responses. Notice I didn't have to remind it what it gave me. It knows what it gave me, into a single sales letter without deleting any of the content. We're just growing our letter. Sure. Are you tired of being overlooked for promotions and opportunities in your career? Do you want to increase visibility and credibility in the industry? Introducing this new course, the ultimate guide to growing and leveraging your personal brand. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Right? And just like this tale of the 2 young men featured in the Wall Street Journal, you too can learn the strategies and tactics to build a personal brand. Okay, what we're doing here is we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to build, the snowball is coming bigger and bigger. Now, this is great because it's a bit more of an outline, but it's still not a narrative. Would you agree? It's still a little bit more formulaic. We're putting it together. Anybody can take random stuff that they find in bullet point form off the web, plop it into a Word doc, start moving stuff around. This is where it gets fun. I told you, we're gonna up your prompt game.
This is just the prompt.
This is only the question. I want you to rewrite the above sales letter beginning with an allegorical story about 2 fictional anecdotal entrepreneurs, both of whom are experiencing some of the 7 most common reasons of not growing. One of these entrepreneurs decides to seek help with a specialist to grow their brand. The brand succeeds, and they grow because they receive a list of the 10 most common benefits of growing their personal brand, and they do the work to achieve that with helping of this offering. The other entrepreneur decides not to grow their personal brand because they weren't willing to do the work to achieve their goals, hoping that things work out, but ultimately their business fails within 6 months. I made this up.
Make the story engaging with details about the names of the entrepreneurs in each of the 2 fictional businesses and the specific challenges and solutions that they experience. And here's a key: do not remind me what I asked you for. Do not apologize. And do not self-reference. Don't tell anyone you're a computer, right?
Sounds hilarious, but this works. Because when AI doesn't have the answer, it's going to apologize. When it tries to put something together and it can't figure it out, it's gonna say, well, I didn't have this information, so I found this. You get rid of all that shit. You just say, I just want the answer, but I want you to do it in a storytelling form. Notice I didn't have to reference that letter from the Wall Street Journal anymore. I didn't have to explain the importance of the formula of why that letter sells. All of you are capable of coming up with a story about your perfect ideal target customer, the person you want to speak to, and putting it all together. You're basically saying, here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to consider AI to be like your employee who knows everything, who takes yes for every answer, who can do the homework, can be your research assistant, and puts it all together and has the ability to also craft this information. It's a fantastic way to be able to just hit go and get your jump start on what you're doing.
And you don't have to be nice to this employee. You don't have to ask the question nicely. And that's the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this, is you're just telling it what to do, right? The computer has no idea about emotions and things like that. It just plows right through. And so the more direct you are, the better answer you're going to get from this prompt. And most of us, I mean, you've heard millions of people say this, people are too nice, you know, especially when they're asking someone else to do something, our contractors, our employees, all this stuff. They're like, hey, can you please go do this for me? You know, take your time, all this stuff. This is going to say, yes, sir, and then execute. It's pretty awesome.
So if you write the do not apologize, all of the things at the end, so because it only goes back to 2021, or like the information that exists up to 2021, how will it formulate answers that maybe don't exist in the system yet?
It's a combination of, it's going to figure it out, along with it's going to give you the answers you need based off of the prompt. So I'm not going to come in here and say, tell me who won the World Cup in 2022 and don't apologize for it. I don't know what it would say. It'd say, maybe I don't have that answer, but it wouldn't be nice about it. Like you're just, this is one step towards crafting it in a way that you want it to give you the output so you can remove the fluff. Like that's kind of the reason that these prompts start to evolve.
We'll also show you, you can input your own data. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we all follow along in the story, right? Kind of cool so far? This is where it gets fun.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video. It's RT with Fast Foundations. Head to fastfoundations.com to learn more how you can get in the room and witness these kinds of experiences live. We do 2 events a year in Scottsdale, 2 events a year in Denver. Basically, once a quarter, we're in the room with people just like you, going deep on topics just like this. If you want to learn more on how that works and how you can get in the room, again, fastfoundations.com is how to do so. And don't forget, the slides that we're talking about right now are at the first link underneath me. Grab those slides, check it out.
Recently, there were 2 young entrepreneurs, John and Sarah. Both of them had just started their own businesses and were determined to make them successful. However, as time went by, John and Sarah started to realize that their businesses were not growing as quickly as they'd hoped. John's business, John's Coffee Shop, how's that for a personal brand coffee shop name, was a small cafe that had opened with a dream of making it a popular hangout spot for the community. However, despite his delicious coffee and friendly service, I mean, everybody loves John, right? John's Coffee Shop was not attracting many customers, so John soon realized that he didn't have a clear message or target audience for his business, and he wasn't effectively leveraging social media to promote it. Sarah, on the other hand, had started an online store called Sarah's Art Studio. I mean, again, come on, Sarah, let's go. Her store was selling beautiful handmade crafts, but despite her hard work, it was not generating enough sales. Sarah soon realized that she was not consistently maintaining and updating her brand, as she wasn't actively networking to build her relationships with the industry. John and Sarah were both experiencing some of the most common reasons why personal brands fail to grow, but while they were facing the same challenges, they decided to take different paths. How different is this in the last few minutes of training the prompts than, "Dear customer, I'd like to introduce you to the Personal Brand Mastery course. Here's all the reasons that you should buy it." You see where we're going with this? It keeps going. And if you read the entire story, you will see that it hits on all of those key points that we trained the algorithm to fix. Don't just self-reference. I want you to dive into the problem. Don't just talk about the benefits. I want you to portray the differences between the person who takes the benefit and the person who doesn't. The person who does, these are the reasons they succeed. The person who doesn't, this is why they fail. We're not lying to anybody. We're using a computer to help us tell a story of something we already know, but we're doing it at this rapid rate. And this is where it gets even better, is we're still having it come up with all of this information. And look at this last line here that it came up. In fact, we're currently enrolling with an early bird special. Join now and receive this discounted bonus. It just came up with your sales technique in the story that you're selling. It decided to come up with an early bird. I didn't tell it anything about early bird.
It created urgency.
It created an early bird urgency moment. How cool is this, right? This whole process from starting it, I mean, we explained it a little bit, but it hasn't been more than 10 minutes. You've got an entire story that can sell exactly what it is that you're doing. And now we're going to break down these prompts. This is where I want you to take notes. And we're going to give you all these, but this is where I want you to start thinking, okay, if I am in data and analytics, how can I have it give me the data that I want so I can actually tell my customers why this is something they should pay attention to? Vita, if I'm reaching out to parents and telling them why this is something that my children should be doing, I want to talk at, like, remember, act as a marketer? I want you to act as a parent. I want you to act as a curious new father, somebody who wants, more art in their life for their children. Like, you can continue to evolve these questions.
It's helpful, write down the actual style of the prompt so you can go back to these slides. But it's helpful, instead of just writing down exactly what we're saying in the prompt, apply it to your business and maybe just jot down, star some ideas you have as you go. That's how we did it last time.
So the basic prompt is the one we started with, right? Give me ideas, right? Give me an idea. Give me ideas for a personal branding business. We just call that the basic prompt. The actor prompt is where you actually have it jump into a persona, right? Act as a marketing copywriter. Write a sales letter to sell a course. Now, that could be anything. Act as a CEO, act as a coach, act as an email marketer, a teacher, a comedian, act as a CFO, act as a business owner, act as a curious child.
When I was doing wristwatch descriptions, I said, act as a journalist with a fascination in American history. And then write me a description of a pocket watch turned into a wristwatch made by a company called Vortic. Boom. Done for me.
The list prompt. List 7 benefits of having a recognizable personal brand. This could also just be add more bullet points, combine these different results, find these statistics, right? Everything that AI knows is because it found it on the internet in some source, right? So it scraped all of Wikipedia. It scraped all of Reddit with outgoing verified links. It scraped, I think at this point, well over 10% of the known internet and trained it, right? So that's what we'll talk about, is the training of this is why you can start to trust it. The story prompt. I highlighted all of the key pieces here of that which we expanded on. So not just write the letter, but I want you to do it with the allegorical story about two fictional anecdotal entrepreneurs. You're giving it permission to get creative, to take what it knows about entrepreneurs, come up with this anecdotal story or this allegorical story, and make everything that they're experiencing something, that they decide to seek help with a specialist, that they do the work, that they decide not to grow their personal brand because they weren't willing to do the work. But most importantly, make it engaging. Have some creative freedom. Take what you know about great storytelling, especially the one I trained you on, and give me what I need in the form of a story.
And this is where you're starting to teach it how you speak, right? Do the work, right? It's going to probably use that phrase because you typed it in there, right? When you tell it to make the story engaging, it's going to use its own AI to do that. But you can also give it some keys or some hints, right? If you happen to run a 6-month mastermind program, maybe say like, what happens when their business doesn't work out within 6 months? Now it's going to reference a timeline. You know,
Right.
all the timelines are going to be 6 months.
We could rewrite this and say, one of them joins the Fast Foundations Mastermind and has all of the experience and the tools that they need and the community and the resources and the video library and everything, and that helped them get to where they needed to go. The other one wasn't willing to do any of that, and guess what else happens in the same amount of time? You're training it to give you the answer that you need to do the same thing you're already doing, but you're doing it with an empowered state of mind. You're doing it where you have data to back you up. And the data is key because the data goes into all these answers. Create a list and provide sources and statistics for the list of the costs, average loss amounts, negative outcomes is a brand new prompt showing you how this can work. If you don't trust the data that it gives you, ask it to cite everything that it knew about the story that it gave you. You guys, look at these sources. The Small Business Administration for our government, entrepreneur.com, again, SBA, the Department of Labor, was that? I always forget.
HBR.org, I have no idea.
Harvard
Oh,
Business
look
Review.
at that.
It was like,
Look at
not
that. That's
Huffington
pretty
Post,
important.
Harvard Business.
That's a pretty important college.
Bureau of Labor and Statistics, Investopedia. You can still check all of these, but it's outlining everything that went into those answers that it gave you, so you understand if you're going to do this work anyways, you're having it help you. I can't tell you how many times in the past for speeches, for talks, whatever, I hired research assistants on Upwork, and they gave me all the same data, but we just did this in a matter of minutes.
We can also remind it to only use things that it finds at least 2 sources for, so that we get closer to fact. You could say find at least 3 independent sources, and then state your sources.
Yep, that was a prompt that we learned as well. Is you can tell it that it shouldn't give you an answer unless there's a conditional outcome. So I don't want you to write this for me until you can prove to me that it's from entrepreneur.com, that it's from a government-based website. You can go that detailed with how you ask it to do questions. One of my favorites, this thing will build forms for you. Create an enrollment form for $10,000 personal brand experience that requests the enrollee's first name, last name, phone number, credit card, billing address, formatted. Yes, I want to invest in my personal brand skyrocketing today. Accept my refundable deposit of $1,500 to arrange an appointment with the brand expert so I can see if I can qualify. Boom.
Copy, paste right on the bottom of your contract.
Easy. Now, we're not just going to stop there. We're going to keep going. And the reason why is because now we have a story. Now we feel good about what we're actually going to build. You guys know our mantra, we sell it before we build it, right? So now we're going to start everything that we need to get together so we know how to actually sell this brand new business. We're going to build the business plan, we're going to build outreach, we're going to build social, ads, and everything else. I want you to act like a new online education business owner for entrepreneurs to grow their personal brand and set up their online education course and business plan. The purpose of the online resource is to support entrepreneurs in growing their personal brand and profiting. Include what the business owner needs to know to start their business and the best practices when building the plan in a separate list. Give an idea for a name, a short, compelling one-liner, target the personas, provide a list of the user's pain points, value propositions, marketing channels, revenue streams, cost structures, key activities, key resources, key partners, idea validation steps. Provide an estimated first-year cost of operation and second. And I'm just going to jump ahead. One of my favorites, include a recession-proof plan for potential business challenges to watch out for. Be diligent, be cautious in your estimations, and verify your data with multiple sources. A little bit better than come up with some website copy. Yeah? And guys, Brand Boost Academy was just formed. Elevate your personal brand and profit. Not bad, right? Pretty solid. Entrepreneurs looking to grow their personal brand and increase their profits is their persona. Here's the user's pain points. Here's the value propositions. Here's the revenue streams. I shortened some of this. The cost structures, the key activities, idea validation steps, estimated first year cost of operations. If you don't believe it, you can ask it to explain why it believes everything goes into that cost. Here's a recession-proof plan. Diversifying revenue streams through affiliate partnerships and sponsored content, continuously updating and improving.
Familiar.
It does. That almost sounds like the Fast Foundations business model. What do you know? My God. I promise you guys, this was a copy and paste answer. Potential business challenges, and then it explains everything that it did for you. You have a start to finish business plan. And in summary, it's basically giving you a watch out. It's saying starting an online education business for entrepreneurs, grow their personal brand, and set up their online education course. And business requires a strong understanding of personal branding and marketing strategies. This was all done in a matter of 20 minutes. Maybe I don't like that name. Give me 10 more name ideas and taglines, but also format it in a markdown table, because I don't want to just see bullet points anymore. I want to be able to copy and paste this and throw it into a Google Sheet.
So good.
Right? We passed the Marita test.
Look at
yes.
this. Brand makers,
Hive.
brand sprint,
Boost
brand
you.
pro academy, .pro.
.pro.
Amazing.
Now, did it check to make sure that those names weren't being used as well?
Great question that I'm going to repeat. Thank you, Jason. It did not, and we did not ask it to check a trademark database if those. So big asterisks on all this stuff. If you like one of these names, don't just throw a logo on it and call it a day. Put it into the trademark database.
Just for further clarification, it only goes data from 2021 back, so maybe use Google on one of the names.
Of course. Yeah. This is supporting you with the same research you were going to do anyways, but at a lightning pace.
Yeah, how long would it take us all to figure this
Come
out?
up with these names.
You know, whiteboard out a bunch of taglines and brands, you know, when we're starting a company. I mean, we all did that, right?
But
Crazy.
again, remember, it's the continuity in the prompts, right? I didn't say, give me 10 creative ideas for growing a personal brand. It took everything that it knew that we've put together so far to help me craft why this is important. It knows you're building a course, so blueprint's a good word. It knows you're trying to boost, so it picked that word. If you were talking about personal brand photography services, it would have come up with different answers. So the algorithm continues to grow. Lauren, you had a question?
Yeah, just for clarification. So what if you, say you log out and then you want to log back in and continue these prompts in that chronological order? Will it remember that? And if so, if you want to start on a different project, how do you do so without it referencing back to
Yeah.
what you're...
Yeah, great question. So to repeat the question just for the audio, what happens when you lose the connection? What happens when you log out, log back in? So ChatGPT specifically will remember your past, your chat history. Now, it's still buggy because millions of people are doing this every second of the day right now. It's wild. But it remembers all your chat history, and you can go back to where you left off. You also can simply take the best output of everything you have and type the word learn, paste all 10,000 words of everything you need. Here's the business plan, here's everything else, and you can pick up where you left off that way. So you can start fresh or you can jumpstart it, either way.
Yep. So if you don't trust it to save it, copy all this, paste it somewhere else, and then you can re-upload it back in at some point later.
Okay, so we've got ideas for business names. Now we're still selling it because we haven't built anything yet. I want you to act as a professional sales copywriter about personal brand growth for entrepreneurs. Your goal is to write a cold outreach email that will convert potential customers into paying customers. Email should be written in fluent English and should be between 300 to 600 words long. I don't have to read all this, but you can see where I'm going with it. Sure thing, here you go. Subject line, take your personal brand to the next level. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your personal brand to the next level? Look no further. Dives into it, 300 to 600 words long, tells people to take action, has a call to action at the bottom. Don't let your personal brand fall behind.
You can remind it to leave you space for images, GIFs, things like that. Where's the best place to put a bullet point list? Have it put the bullet point list in there.
Next, let's go to social media. Give me 7 ideas for attention-grabbing hooks at the beginning of a TikTok video about having 1 million followers to stop people from scrolling and get them to watch the video. Sure. Want to know the secret to getting to 1 million followers on TikTok? Watch this video and find out. Imagine having 1 million people watching your every move on TikTok. It's possible, and I'll show you how. Don't like those? Say, give me 10 more. Replace TikTok for Instagram.
Those are too long? Say, give me the same ones, but more succinct.
Take more action. Be more catchy, whatever you want. Add a dad joke. It's going to replace it and do whatever you want with it. Write 20 headlines for an ad to sell this personal brand course described in the following sales letter. Copy, paste. Sure. There's 20 headlines to sell your whole course, all of which are pretty damn good. Don't be like Sarah.
Don't be like Sarah.
It remembered Sarah. Can't forget Sarah. For each of the following headlines above, write 1 Google AdWords ad consisting of 3 headlines, totally no more than 30 characters. Everybody hates that character count, so it'll do that for you, and it will craft the words to make sure everything fits, but still makes it actionable. There you go. Couldn't fit all 30 on one screen. Write 5 clickbait article titles in the style of BuzzFeed about the top 17 reasons entrepreneurs fail. You guys see where this is going?
This is good.
You won't believe the #1 reason entrepreneurs fail. It's not what you think. Entrepreneurs beware, these 17 reasons for failure may surprise you. The most surprising one may shock you. I love these.
The last one might surprise you. It's so good.
Might blow your mind. Let's build our course. We have everything we need to actually sell this thing. So why would we actually want to do any work on our own? Using the MECE framework. Any NLP specialists in the room by chance? Okay, I am not, but I've learned from very smart NLP specialists that being an NLP specialist really helps when you're building a course. So I'm training it to use frameworks that are publicly available the same way we trained it to build that story. So you can build a really solid decision-making based criterion framework. Using that framework, create a detailed long-form content outline for the course on the topic of personal brand growth. Provide a short attention-grabbing title for each section, and also while you're at it, estimate the word count needed for each subheading to explain it. I mean, nobody's just gonna click on it if they don't know what they're getting into, but I don't want it to be too much. I wanna know what I'm getting into. By the way, if I don't wanna write that, I can have it write it for me too, but I'm just getting started. Include a list of the semantically similar FAQs, so that way when questions come up, I actually know what people are gonna ask me before they ask me, and use the vector representation technique utilizing NLP, that was a fun one that I figured out, to base everything you've learned about our personal brand business. I'm basically giving it permission to take all this work and turn it into a sellable asset that I can now go and produce. Okay. Unleash the power of your personal brand was the one that it chose. Your introduction should be about 200 words. Here are the key benefits that you should talk about in your introduction. Define your unique value proposition, target audience and analysis, developing consistent brand messaging, your conclusion, and then here are some questions that people are probably going to ask you along the way. Don't think that that's enough for your course? Okay. Add 3 more sections to this outline that are impactful and actionable. Sure thing. Here are 3 more sections. Consider adding these at the end, but before the conclusion section. It actually tells you where to insert them because it's making an addition or an addendum to what it already gave you. Sure, we'll talk about building your online presence, networking and collaboration, and measuring or improving your brand impact. Does anybody here feel like if they were launching a personal branding product or a business, that they no longer have the information they need to actually just do this? It can give you everything you need when you upped your prompt game and you start asking the questions that you truly need to get into that avatar and what you want to do. We're still going to go further. You guys, there's something in here for everybody, right? Act as a business strategist or consultant. find pricing best practices, ways to differentiate, create partnerships. I want you to act as an accountant or CFO, create a budget for me, accounting policies. Think about being a COO. Create a standard operating procedure for how to connect to Instagram for a client account that I run an agency for. It will outline everything that it knows about the right way to do it. Act as a CMO, marketing director, act as a sales director. There's an unlimited amount of ways that you can start really finding the information you need to thrive. And we're talking mostly about business here, but again, talking about being a leader for your team. I mean, at the end of the year, I wanted to post something in our team Slack to kind of like, hey guys, it was a great year, you know, and I was kind of sitting there and I was stuck. And I just said, give me some ideas as the leader of my company to thank everybody for a wonderful year and challenge them for 2023. And it gave me a bullet point list of things to consider. And I was like, great. And I took it and I wrote something, Slack emoji bomb. You know, everybody was like, cool, this is great. Just, there's no reason to hesitate anymore when it can just help you move forward that much faster.
And I love this one down here. Once it knows what you're looking for and what you're after, then it says create sales objections for the above service, product, course, etc. So now not just FAQs, but when I'm trying to sell this, what are people most likely going to have as their biggest objection? And then you can say, awesome, give me a list of FAQs that answers those objections. Copy, paste.
Something in here for everybody? We see something that might help us? Yeah? I see some hands. Okay, great. So that's really the ChatGPT side. I also just want to show you what it's like to actually think a little bit more creatively, work with some of the imagery. Now, all of this tech is continually evolving, right? Right now we're on GPT-3, which has 150 billion trained parameters that go into it. GPT-4 is going to be announced probably in about a month or so. And they're looking about keeping the same amount, but they're working on adding more concurrency for like what's coming in for not just from 2021, but into 2022. And they're going to take all of this public search data and they're going to make it even better. The further iterations are going to get it even closer to the amount of synapses in the human brain, which is phenomenal. But has anybody actually played with one of the image creation AI tools? A couple of us? Okay. Real quick, experience. Like it, hate it, crazy, it's too immature?
Yeah, no, we've done some pretty cool.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun, and nothing that we like find or put out as an ad or something like that. But yeah, no, it's come up with some cool imagery, yeah.
So similar, I'm going to show you some prompts to really kind of up-level the image game because it's also an evolving industry. No, this is a new service. So this one is called Midjourney. So OpenAI is the startup that is using the GPT framework, Stable Diffusion, all of these. I'm not going to get into all the tech terms for you, but it's using all of these technologies, but they're wrapping user interfaces and ways of making it better. So Midjourney uses some of the same technology, but they're doing it in a way where you can actually produce them a lot better and you can train it in a different way. They actually use Discord. So you log in via their Discord, and what's really cool about it is you just type imagine, and it gives you a prompt, and it's like, what do you want to imagine today? It's kind of fun. It's like, I did this with my kids, and they were like, I want long hair, and I want to ride a pony, and I want to be in Disneyland. And it came up with a picture, and I can pipe a picture of them into it, and it takes them, and it actually puts them on a pony, and they're in front of the Magic Castle. And I'm going to show you how the same thing can happen here. Let's say I just want an image of a Spartan. Well, out of the box, AI created that with Midjourney. Can we just take a minute and like...
That's a badass Spartan.
Like that's not a photo from anywhere else.
That did not exist until I typed that prompt. That human does not exist. The helmet does not exist. The blood on his immaculate pec does not exist. Holy shit.
This is like if you asked Google, what does a Spartan look like? And then image search Google, it would show you pictures that already exist. ChatGPT and all the back end of all this stuff knows all of that information and then creates a new image based on the data that's out there of what should a Spartan look like.
It's the exact same concept as like taking what Google knows and applying it, but we're doing it with imagery. So all of these are inspired from other images that it learned, and because it's been trained, right? That's the difference of what AI is doing with training. It's one thing if you just have a list of all of the data. Like if Google didn't have the search aspect, it'd be a big ass database, one big sheet, and that's only so much fun. But it's the same reason that Netflix knows what you want to watch, because you watch stuff. And then it tracks your data and you say, I like this. And it's like, fantastic, I'm gonna give you more like this. So it's the same thing, except it's not personalized yet. When it becomes personalized, it's gonna be insanely dangerous in a really good way. So again, I asked for a Spartan, but let's take it a step up. I actually want you to be a Spartan hoplite. And a hoplite is just a heavily armed Spartan, like coming out of war, like that concept. Standing tall on a rocky outcropping, the setting sun casting a golden glow of his bronze armor and red cape, surveys the battlefield below with a determined expression, spear held firmly in his hand. All of this stuff here, this is just because I'm having fun with this, so I start training it to give me more weight, less weight on certain things. I want you to be artistic photography, creative expression, unique, high quality. I want you to actually shoot it in the way that this particular camera would take that photo with that aperture and that shutter speed and that ISO. I want you to make it award-winning, experimental techniques, give me an unusual perspective, give me attention to detail, and use this version of the algorithm to do it. That's the difference.
First one was badass. This is insane.
And I don't know about you, but number 3 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Can we just take a minute and look at that? About 60 seconds or so. Yeah. What was that? I don't know, but he looks badass, and it's basically what I asked for.
And which AI system was this?
This is Midjourney.
Midjourney is where this one came from.
Midjourney.com, and it's free preview. Like, you guys, all this stuff is free right now. Free. It's just like this is a gold rush.
And like, if we're building a personal brand course and we want like a badass image for the top, it's like, you know, maybe make this into a meme once you actually finish your personal brand.
There is an AI site that you can type in what you want it to talk about, and it will create a meme for you. It's just, the explosion is real.
We'll send it to you.
We'll send it, I'll text it to you. Now, again, because it's visual now, we can really feel this, right? You guys understand the feeling of that last image and what it gave you. I'm gonna do it again, but this time I want a Spartan that's more cinematic. I want photos taken by ARI, photos taken by Sony, Canon, Nikon photos with a Hasselblad. Make it detail, sharp, professional lighting. I want you to try different millimeter lenses. I want you to make it balanced. Now, I know some of this looks a little bit off, but again, I've been sourcing really cool prompts that I found from the community. One of the cool things about Midjourney is you see what everybody's actually doing. So when an image comes out and you're like, oh, that looks really cool, I want to use that same model, you're continuing to grow how you're getting your data based off of what other people are giving you. Now just look at the difference of how it produced this image just by asking it a different prompt. Also, really fucking cool, it actually put the camera in the Spartan's hand because, you know, I'm sure that was real back in the day. But
it's a cool looking camera.
It even looks better with that badass holding it, right?
Look at his eyes.
Yeah, look at that.
It's
and
crazy.
you can't see it here, you guys will see it with the slide deck, but there's blood like flying down here, like being caught because the shutter speed is so quick. But the cinematic shot compared to like the ambiance of like overlooking a battlefield. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I don't have one of those examples here, but you can draw a smiley face on a piece of paper and you can upload that photo and say, make this a hyper-realistic human that is smiling at me, and it will create an image for you. Like, there is no reason why you have to be stuck anymore. It's the purpose of this talk, is if you are pitching a prospective client and you're coming up with storyboards, you've just upped your storyboard game because you take your lined paper and you draw something out. Like, Vita, I would love to see what your artwork turns into with this. Oh my God, that'd be the best experiment ever. You draw something like a rough sketch, put it together, and then come up with your favorite prompts of like, I want this to look cinematic. I want it to evoke feeling. I want it to have these colors, you know, whatever this is, and it'll create this image sequence of everything that you want. And it's all 100% or original. It doesn't look like anything else.
One thing I was, as I'm working on my personal brand, building a personal website, obviously we have images of me speaking here, but I don't have very many. And if I wanted a couple hundred images of me speaking on different stages, I could upload a picture of myself speaking, holding a mic just like this. And then I could say, now put me speaking in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
Put me speaking in front of 1,000 people in the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado, right? With the sun setting in the background, using all of those image details that Jim gave it. Shoot it with this type of camera.
Standing next to Lewis Howes on Summit of Greatness stage.
All
the world is yours.
Yeah.
Take it. One of those. All right. So it doesn't just have to stop there. I wanted to have a little fun with some of you guys. So come up with a simple creative logo for selling chocolates with the business name Barate Milano. Make it an elite feel, 4K, clear details, white background. It struggles with words and text a little bit right now, but I mean, you guys tell me, for about 30 seconds worth of work, does that give you inspiration for what the business could be?
Packaging, labels.
Not just that, but let's do a Torino, Italy map and, play with some different chocolate ideas. Okay, cool. There you go. It knew I wanted a shot of espresso while we were talking about it too. It's perfectly on brand. Yeah. So the GPU cycles for text is still wildly expensive for them, so they kind of cheat. But
think about for a second,
so much closer.
You guys have all worked with designers making logos, making things for you. A lot of great designers. We have some wonderful designers in the room. A lot of times they ask, like, hey, can you send me some examples of either previous things that people have done for you, things that you like on the internet that, what's the vibe? Where we were trying to go? You don't have to Google this anymore. You can make examples of what's in your head. And if you're like, I like this because of this, and I like that because of this feature, and it took 60 seconds.
And this tool specifically, Midjourney, like you can do this with any of them, but what's cool about it is it'll give you a 4-pack of ideas, and you say, give me more. Just keep recycling, keep trying things. You find one, and you say, oh, I really like that one, so I'm gonna pick that one and make variations on that. And then it'll continue to refine this, You can spend an hour deep dive refining this until it gets to the point that you're really happy with it. And then you click, I want that, and it gives you just this massive version. That's what I did with the Spartan one. I liked number 3, gave me the full rendering of number 3. And then you can input that back into the system and say, I now want him overlooking an ocean. I want him to have a blue cape. Like the choices are unlimited because it's just your imagination. Yeah, Jess.
So I'm gonna use podcast music for a reference for like ownership or something that's free that you can grab. If that photo is now mine, that's been created for me, will no one ever get that same photo if they use those same words? Like if they type in the exact same Torino, Italy map and chocolate?
So yeah, two questions there. License, and then like what happens when it comes up again. So because this is all evolving tech, there is no, as of today, from the best that I've found and all the sources, all the research I've done, there is no definitive license around this. It states, ownership is basically because a computer's creating it and you don't own the computer and you're not paying for the service, these are free game. So right now, anybody can use all this as much as you want. I think it's helpful if it's more like a Creative Commons attrition, like you're saying, AI created this, you're kind of giving them a nod, but it's not needed. Now, the variations. I haven't yet to see putting the exact same prompt in and seeing the exact same thing come out because it uses enough randomness and technology to figure it out, and the model continually grows. So if you did back-to-back, I think they'd be similar, but if I did the same Spartan one, like if you guys copy and pasted that, you're probably gonna get different answers because the model continues to grow, and that in the most meta form ever is the power of AI. The more inputs you give it, the better it gives you the answers.
I mean, top of mind, I'm thinking of like the GoDaddy website, of all the people that now own these websites after they've sat for days, weeks, months, typing in all of the .coms they can that they now own. Like I wonder if there'll be ownership at some, I don't know, I was thinking way too far ahead, but like ownership of like, now you have to pay somebody 30 grand for a domain name that's the thing you came up with. I'm just like curious.
Yeah, the ownership, all that's coming. All of these services have paid options. So like I paid $9 a month for Midjourney because I don't want to wait 4 minutes for a render if I can wait 20 seconds. And we're talking like for $10, yes, I can experiment with this because I'm an advocate. With ChatGPT right now, it's free, but if it hasn't prompted you to pay yet, there's a backdoor way of going into the billing system and adding your credit card. And then if you use it through the API, all the requests just power right through. And like to make this whole presentation, I spent 9 cents. I'd say it's worth it. So the ownership conversation is coming. It may already be there, I just haven't seen it yet. But as far as I know right now, all this is up for grabs. Yeah, question?
Does it give you the ability to actually like save your like where you're at so that you can come back to it and keep going deeper, or do you always start from scratch?
Specifically with this one, no, but it can take an inspired prompt. So like you can feed it an image. It's like we were talking about, I could take this, re-upload it and say, make variations of like this, but it's gonna need a prompt again. So it's like, well, great, what do you want me to do with it? If you just type more of this, it'll create more variations of that.
And for ChatGPT, with the words,
it does save it.
We can save that.
It's all in the sidebar. So then you just refresh and you hit it. So a couple more examples, and then we have plenty of time for more Q&A, and we can talk about this some more, how it applies to your businesses. This is a fun one. V, I was thinking of you for this. How about a young artist, hyper-realistic, vibrant, colorful, and joyful? Let's take a wild guess about what AI created based off of this.
So this prompts a question for me that I've been kind of holding on to, which is, what are your thoughts on some of the comments and allegations that have been made around, I don't know if it's applying to Midjourney, I haven't heard of, but specifically the Lensa app, that they were kind of viewing other artists' work and sourcing inspiration from that to create content.
Yeah, it's still so cutting edge and subjective that it's hard to have an affirmative stance for anybody. But AI learns from real life, from real data, right? All the ChatGPT stuff, it had those answers because at some point that answer was published, right? I asked it to cite the data sources and it found all that information. These children do not exist, but these images were inspired by an amalgamation of everything that I asked it to do. So could this be really close to somebody else's artwork? Absolutely. Which is why I did simple prompts to kind of have fun with this. But for the Spartan one, I'd like you to show me that by me asking it to do that, it actually stole somebody's style. I really would, like, because then that would be a lesson learned. In a case like this, you could train it with your style. We could take one of your pages from your Heartful Kids workbook, like the way that you like to say it, and say, I want you to create image compositions of kids happily coloring with this and using this style with your colors, your color palette. Take a picture of your wall and put it in, and it would use those colors to help you get closer. So it doesn't have to be the end all, but it also can just be an inspired moment for you as an artist to give you more ideas that you can jump off from.
Another example, it's a really good question, and there's tons of attorneys that are diving into this to try to figure out, copyrights, trademarks, all that kind of stuff. For the ChatGPT and writing like long form sales letters and writing speeches and things like that, there have been people that say, like, write this the way that Tony Robbins would speak it. And people like him probably, some people like him might like that, some people like him might not like that. And so the AI is just using all of his work that's just out there to learn his voice and then present it back to us. Is that right or wrong? That hasn't yet been determined. But obviously, if somebody like Tony Robbins, with the power that he has and the financial meanings that he has, if he doesn't want AI to do that, he sends a cease and desist, and then you won't be able to type in his name into this.
But at the same time, any copywriter could do it as well, right? This is just a newer way to do it faster. Same with inspired imagery. And I have another slide that I think will help to back up at least my opinion on that. It's not definitive, but any copywriter on our team could rewrite a sales letter and make it sound like somebody in particular because they're a copywriter, that's what they do. This just happens to know that style and it can do it. One of the prompt that we had, we said basically copy what the Wall Street Journal did and help me incorporate it into my story. I am not saying copy and paste everything and post it to your website. I'm saying, help me get 98% of the way there, and then let me add a flair. I could tell it to have added a dad joke to that email, and I don't know if it was going to be a good one, but I for sure can go in and put in a better one.
The worst ones are the best, honestly.
So a couple more, and then I think it'll help to back that up. Kyle, I was thinking of you on this one. Really simple prompt, data and analytics, building clarity. It came up with some of those. I'm not saying that has to be your new logo, but why not be one square on your website when you're talking about what a dashboard could make you feel?
Boom.
You see how this is going? This one I was thinking, where's Dr. Ken? There he is. Oh, perfect timing. Grab a seat. We were going through examples. A line sketch, rough draft, patent drawing, pencil, ruler of a massage gun with a ball head for muscles and therapy. It came up with that. So Vita, kind of to your point here, I didn't have to say patent drawing, rough draft. I could have said, help me create one. And it would take inspired ones. Hell, it may have even copied what it known, because this is rough, this is newer. Like, it knows of a lot of different kids' faces, but there aren't a lot of these different ones out there. But the fact that I told it to get creative, make it a pencil drawing, again, I welcome somebody to come back to me and say, you stole my concept, when all I'm asking for is ideas to help me get started. You don't have to say, give me something I'm immediately gonna post to Instagram. You can just say, help me get creative. You're creative. I'm not that creative that way. So I need this kind of support. This reduces the barrier of entry to literally zero. And that's why our whole goal with this was to show you how to up your prompts so you can get the best answers to be unblocked to just thrive. Does that make sense? What was that?
Sorry. Does it illustrate like a poem, basically? If I have a book of like poems, and I wanted to illustrate some of that.
Oh yeah, that's fun. I've played with the question was, can it illustrate? Yes. So I had fun with this when I first started exploring with prompts. I had it write a children's book about a little boy who owned a coffee shop. I just made stuff up. And the boy goes on this journey of learning it and all this stuff, and it wrote me, felt like a pretty good children's book. And then I took all of those prompts and I had some common ones, that the little boy should have long hair and this. Why do you think I told it to have long hair? I'm not mad. And I put all of that into that, and I basically said, in this sequence, the little boy is holding a coffee cup. In this sequence, the little boy is welcoming people into his coffee shop. And it gave me all of these different screens. And again, if nothing else, it's a storyboard for what it could be. But it actually could have been that same one. You can use that same profile. So there's no reason to feel stuck anymore. You can chip things out and move it along. If we could have gone through here and said, show me the first step in drawing this with basic outlines and circles and lines, and it would have reduced this, and it would have just gave a lot of this background stuff. And then say, have a very complex one, very well researched, very well thought through, all of these extra items, and it would keep going. So yeah, you can absolutely sequence it based off your imagination.
We probably have time for one more question.
Yeah,
what else did you
the
want to share?
last one, I did this for Kristen. I don't think she's here yet, but superhero nurse, very minimalist logo design, flat design, just having some fun. And you can see here again, it's just a different style. I could have said, give me this in the style of Matisse, in the style of Picasso, in the style of Rembrandt, and it would make these beautiful masterpiece-looking artworks. But again, you're not saying that you're Picasso or Rembrandt, you're just saying, I want to be inspired with how this kind of thing should look. And that's it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Fast Foundations podcast. I'm RT, and that was Jim going deep on how to use AI to grow your brand and grow your business in 2023 and forward. So check out our other YouTube videos. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube or subscribe wherever you're listening. Check out the other videos, because we give away all of this information, all of this great knowledge for free all the time here on the Fast Foundations podcast, and I want you to have access to that. And if you want to get in the room and experience some of this for yourself, the best way to do that is go to fastfoundations.com. Apply for our mastermind. We do these events just like you just witnessed, way deeper. We go way bigger on all these events. That's just 1/10 of what it was like to be there. Again, fastfoundations.com to join the mastermind, or at least send in your application. Talk to you soon.